Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl guy G back with another video. This is part 2 on abuse. This part is for women that are being abused, and this is a very sensitive subject for me. Not because I've experienced abuse on me personally. It's because I've had to deal with that in terms with friends and family, and I know how difficult this subject can be and how detrimental this subject can be. So let me be the first to tell you that this video is in no way to shame anyone, is in no way to embarrass anyone, is in no way to belittle anyone. Understand that things that I say on this video has nothing to do with a particular case or person. With this part 2 of this video, because it's a very sensitive issue, I will only try my very best to just do the basic sections of it, because this video hits home for me. Again, not personally, it hits home for me because I have people that I love dearly that has suffered this form of abuse, and I commend them. Those that have the courage to get themselves out, I commend them tremendously. And those that are currently experiencing it, I will continue to pray that one day that you're strong enough to see your worth. So I dreaded filming this video because it's very personal to me. Abuse is personal, but we are going to talk about abused on a woman. It's because it's an issue that we don't want to talk about, and that exists, and it's painful. And I will try to get through this video as quickly and as painless as I possibly can. If you or someone you know being abused, do not, if you are being abused, get help. You will not be judged. No questions will be asked. Even if you just dialing the numbers, it's a sign of getting help. And I want to applaud you for the courage that you have. And even by clicking this video and watching it, it takes courage to do that. And I applaud you for it. But I want you to know that the abuse that you're going through is not your fault. You didn't sign up for this. Sometimes as women, we look for love and we think, oh my God, this is it. This is the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And said person is not what you think they are, because the person you date, the person you're engaged to, the person you're married to is 3 different persons, and each will come out at different stage of their lives. And some men abuse women. Some men abuse women because they grew up watching maybe somebody close to them, maybe a mother or a grandmother or an aunt being abused, and because they grew up watching it, they didn't get help and they assume that it's okay. So some men abuse because of that. Some men abuse because they've been abused themselves and they don't know how to deal with it. And to say the least, it is very sad. But like I said, it's a very sensitive issue. It's a sensitive topic, and as you guys watching me, you see that I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, because there may be someone that's watching me and that's currently going through this, and they're may be watching and waiting for some sort of sign from the universe, from some keyword from me, that they should get out. The fact that you clicked on this video, the fact that the universe led you to this video, the fact that God led you to this video, it's a sign that you need to get out. You need to get out. It's not okay. It is not okay. Now, let me break it down to you. Verbal abuse. Sometimes verbal leads to physical, but there's a lot of time it just stays verbal. So verbal abuse is when one calls you out of your name. On the last video, you know, I've said to you that I've never been abused by any men physically, but I've been called out of my name by a man. And when you're called out of your name and you allow it to continue to happen, that's abuse. When a man is abusing a woman, they'll say to you, oh, it is your fault. You know how I act. It's the same sign as when a man is being abused too. Abusers always say, you know how I act. You know I have anger issues. When I drank, I hid. It's not okay. And I tell my girls all the time that as they grow up and they will date men, and I said to them that it only takes one time for a man to raise his hands on you. It only takes one time for a man to call you out of your name and for you to stop it right then and there. And I said to them, no matter how much you love said person, if they're going to make threats and then blame you for it, it's not okay. And I know a lot of these men, they abusing these women, and they go and get you gifts and flowers and tell you, baby, I'm sorry, I love you, it's your fault. I would never, if you didn't get me upset, that I would never hurt you. I would have never put my hands on you. This is not like me. I only act like this when I drink. I had a long day at work. My boss was just pissing me off. Everybody was just coming at me, and I just came home, and you didn't even let me relax, and you didn't even let me just have a second to myself, and you just started, and then I just snapped, and I just blocked, okay? It's not your fault your man had a bad day at work. It's not your fault that your woman had a bad day at work. It is not your fault. And please don't think, oh, but he gets me flowers and he tells me I'm beautiful. And, the makeup sex is always the best sex. What? No, sweetheart. Makeup sex after an ass whooping is rape. Call it how you want to call it. That's not makeup sex, honey. That's just rape. It's not makeup sex. It's not. There are men that tells you you'll never be nothing. You'll never mount to nothing without me. You can't leave me. If you leave me, who's gonna want you? You got a child. You got 2 kids. You got 3 kids. I had somebody tell me this, and I hope he watches my video. You can't leave me. You'll never mount to nothing. I made you. Those are the things they say. I made you. You can't leave me. You'll never mount to nothing. I made you. You did what? I hope said person is watching, because not only did I leave you, I left you and got degreed. Okay? So, when somebody tell you you can't leave them, leave them. I know a lot of you are saying, a lot of you feel like you've been praying for so long and you've been abused for so long, and it's like you're saying to God, I love said person, and a lot of you are praying and you don't realize that you're saying the wrong prayer. It's like A lot of you are praying to God to change this man or woman behavior. You know, you don't pray to God and say, God, please help change my wife, make my wife a better woman. Please, God, change my husband, make my husband a better man. Please, God, change him. You can't pray for God to change someone that's putting their hands on you. You can't do that. That's not how you get help. That's not how you get out. That's not how you get out. And when someone says to you, you're not good enough, you will never amount to nothing, you need them, you don't need them. You are one of the most powerful vessels on this earth. The most powerful vessel on this earth. Your body has the capability to bring a human being into life. Your body has the capability to not only carry not one, not two, several human beings at one time for 9 months and give birth. So when somebody tell you you'll never amount to something, you need to look at the mirror. Go. I'll wait for you to go get a mirror. And if you've been waiting on God to answer your prayers, God tell me to tell you the prayers has been in front of you. Your answered prayers have been in front of you. It's been right here in front of you. You just haven't been able to see it. Your answered prayer. So, you know, sometimes, you know, abuse come in a form of an answered prayer. You know how when you praying God, and you keep continuing to let somebody hit you. Each time you pray God and that person put their hands on you, that's an answered prayer. That is God telling you. That's a sign you've gotten hit too many times. Each time you get beat up by someone and you pray God and you waiting for an answer, God just told me to tell you he gave you that answer. That answer is when you get hit, that's the answer. That's a sign you need to get help. And I know I say get out, and you know, there's a say that says, unless you live in my shoes, you can't tell me how to walk in them. And I respect that. I understand that. But honey, you can get out. You can get out. You can get out. You can get out. Inbox me. You can get out. God says all storms run out of strength. It can't rain forever. It can't rain forever. So next time you feel like God haven't answered your prayers, just remember, he been answered your prayers. He answered your prayers. He told me to tell you your prayers were answered. Don't ever pray to God to change somebody. You can't change nobody to make them fit you. Honey, you're not a seamstress. God is not a seamstress. He's not in the business of making it fit. He's not in the business of making it work. He's not in a business of sizing anything. When God gives you something, you don't have to make it work. When God gives you something, you don't have to make it fit. It just automatically fit. It's like you go to a store and you get a shirt, honey. Have you ever bought a top or a dress and that shirt just fit? That's how when God gives you something, it does not need to be altered. When God gives you something, it does not need to be trimmed. It does not need to be polished. When God gives you something, it is yours. So when you here trying to pray God to get you out of that situation, get you out of that abuse, and you don't know who to turn to, you embarrassed about family members, that is help. And God's telling me, you know, that time when you allow someone that to hit you, each time you say, God, I'm waiting on a sign. That sign is when each time he hits you is a sign. Each time she hits you, it's a sign for you to get help. The fact that you're watching this video is a sign. It is a sign. It is a sign. Don't pray for God to change your husband. Don't pray to God to change your wife. Don't do that. If you got to pray to God to change somebody you with, somebody you living in a union with, then honey, you need to go back and surrender to God, because you should not be praying for God to alter anything. Because when God gives you something and it's for you, it fits to perfection. You don't have to pray to him about it. You don't have to alter it. You don't have to take this color fabric to put with this color fabric, honey. It just blends. You see how I'm wearing a shirt and there's like different type of colors, and at first, if you see these colors individually put together, you're looking at it, you're like, how am I gonna get green to go with pink and gray? That don't make no sense right there. But you see, they make sense here. You see how my shirt makes sense here? But if you pick every single colors individually and you put them on the outside and you say, I'm about to make a shirt, I'm about to make a top, and you look at those colors and you're thinking, how am I going to get those colors to work? But you see, that's when you trying to fix things on your own. Because when God gives you something, honey, you ain't got to make colors work. You don't have to try to say, oh, this size is this. No, when God gives you something and it is yours, this is how the colors coordinate with each other. Your life coordinates with each other. You don't have to pray God for him to protect. You don't have to pray God for him to ask. And that's a sign. If you got to pray God for your man to act right, if you got to pray God for your woman to act right, honey, this ain't God. This ain't God. If God's telling you that's not me. You see how those colors were able to coordinate? This is what happened when God chooses for you. This is what happened when it's for you. When that man is the man you're supposed to be with. When that woman is that woman you're supposed to be with. You don't have to do any color coordination. You don't have to do any trimming. You don't have to do any matching. You don't have to lose weight. You don't have to change your hair color. You don't have to speak English without an accent. You don't have to have a college degree. Honey, let me tell you something. Okay, this ain't no preaching video, but let me tell you something. When God chose my husband for me, I didn't need a college degree. I didn't have to have a college degree. When God chose for me, I didn't have to have money. I didn't have to have an income, because when God chose what was right for me, he chose it just for me. So if you in a relationship and God didn't choose it for you and you are being abused, you need to get help. Because that's not God. Don't be praying to God, asking God, please change my man. Please change my woman. That's not God, honey. That is not God. That is not God. God didn't do this. And you keep looking for a sign from God. Every time you get punched in your face, that's a sign. That's God telling you this is not your place. You don't belong here. If somebody gonna tell you that without them, you're never going to mount to something, that is a sign from God. You don't belong here. If somebody's going to tell you you are too fat for them, that's a sign from God. You don't belong here. Okay? That is a sign from God. You don't belong here. If somebody's going to tell you that you sleeping around when you out in the supermarket, honey, that is a sign from God. You don't belong here. Because when God chooses for you, when God answers your prayers, honey, you could be 600 pounds. You're going to be the most beautiful 600 pounds in the universe when God chooses for you. When God chooses for you. I'm here to tell you, you ain't got to continue praying. You ain't got to continue crying. You ain't got to continue begging. What you need to do is surrender to God. What you need to do is say, God, I'm ready to surrender to you. I'm ready to allow you to take control of my life. I am ready for you to lead me. I am ready for you to guide me. I'm ready for you to control me. This is what you need to tell God. Stop praying to God, asking God to change that man. Stop him from drinking. Stop him from beating you. That's not the type of prayer you need. You need the type of prayer where you can tell God to coordinate my life, take control of my life. And when God takes control of your life, honey, in Psalm 23, he said, he gonna prepare a table in the presence of thy enemies. When God coordinates your life, he takes control of your life, that Psalm becomes your life. Your enemies are going to be sitting watching you glow. Your enemies are going to be sitting and watch you elevate. And guess what? At each elevation you take in life, people are going to be here to remind you. You remember when? At each elevation you take in life, folks are going to be here to remind you. You remember when? They're going to remind you of your past. But God just told me to tell you, it's okay. Let them be a reminder of what you'll never become again. Let them be a reminder of where you'll never be again. I didn't come on here to preach. I didn't come in here to preach, y'all. I did not come on here to preach. I came to film a video about women being abused. But God put it in my spirit to tell you, you need to stop praying. You need to stop praying and begging him to change that man. You need to stop praying and begging him to change that woman, because that shoes is not for you, honey. That shoes is not for you. If your size is size 8, stop trying to ask God to make a size 6 fit. It ain't going to work. If your size is size 10, stop trying to ask God to make a size 12 fit. That's not going to work. When God coordinate your life, everything blends in. When God coordinate, you ain't got to worry about nobody cheating on you. You ain't got to worry nobody accusing you. You ain't got to worry about nothing. Everything just flows like the ocean. Girl, I don't know what God just did there, honey. I don't know where God is trying to make this channel go. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what the universe want to do, but I'm up for the challenge. I am up for the challenge. I am up for the challenge. So that sign you've been asking God, that sign you've been praying about, honey, he's been sending it to you. Each time you are questioned about your honesty, that's a sign you don't belong there. You don't believe in that, and you've been sending the wrong prayer. All you got to do is say, Daddy, I surrender to you, Daddy. I surrender. God, I surrender. Take control. Let me tell you something, okay? It wasn't until I hit rock bottom that I surrendered to God. And boy, did I surrender to God. And my life, I live a life now that, you know how we have dreams and fairy tale, honey? I am married to the best man. Like, I didn't choose my husband. God chose him. Because I don't know how to pick him. I damn sure don't know how to pick him. But God just put it in my heart. This video wasn't a preaching video. I promise y'all it wasn't a preaching video. It was a video about me trying to talk to you that abuse is not right. And God just like took me somewhere with you. Y'all hear my stomach grabbling. God just took me somewhere with you. But yeah, get help. Get help, y'all. Help is coming. Help is on the way. Help is here. So until next time, be kind. I love you guys. Inbox me on Instagram. I'll have my Instagram in the description box. And Lord, I felt his presence there, you guys. So take care of one another. Bye-bye.